Very good afternoon to everyone present in today's session. My name is Rahul R from Cooperative Training Group NDDB, and I welcome all of you to today's NDDB संवाद एपिसोड. आप सभी का NDDB संवाद के इस एपिसोड में हार्दिक स्वागत है.
Good afternoon, everybody. All who have joined from various parts of the country to the second episode of a series of presentations which has been organized by the Cooperative Training Group for the benefit of all those who are engaged in dairy business. The second episode actually covers the consumer's expectations for the next decade. On the basis of, we'll discuss how the world demographics are changing and what kind of opportunities are there, will be there in the coming years in the dairy sector. Another topic which is also important, which will be covered here is the impact of labeling on consumer behavior and also changing preferences, consumers' consumption trends. All these three things we will try to cover from in this presentation. At the beginning, let me tell you that all the figures and the findings that we'll be discussing here have emerged during various discussions or panel discussions or deliberations during the recently concluded World Dairy Summit in Noida. And the researches or the figures that have been quoted during those discussions are being utilized for this presentation. So to start with, we'll just present you a snapshot of what the global scenario would be like in the dairy sector in the year 2030. That is another 8 years from now. In the year 2020, the global trade, that is the export-import, that business was about 85 million metric tons. Now it will increase to about 120 million metric tons. It is projected by 2030. That is a jump of about 41%, which is huge. Out of this incremental global trade, which is going to happen in the next 8 years, 60% of the additional demand is going to come from China, about 7.7 million metric tons, Southeast Asia, 6.9 million metric tons, and Africa, which will contribute about 7.1 million metric tons. Another important aspect here is China, which is a large country with a huge population. They are gradually becoming self-sufficient in dairying. The self-sufficiency has increased from 70% to 80% in the last 5 years. So which is going to also impact, because their requirement might be dependent upon their domestic production and what they need to import. The New Zealand dairy product, as a country is an advanced country in terms of dairying. However, their production is going to come down because they are focusing on sustainability and reducing carbon footprint and environmental sustainability. So probably their production is going to decline a bit. In case of European unions, the surplus in the last decade was 15 million metric tons. However, it is being seen that it will be about 6.7 million metric tons because the growth rate of production in EU is going to be very, very low. That 0.6% per annum growth is also very highly optimistic. Production in the US is to grow at a rate of 1.5% per annum. However, in the US also, the dairy productions system is undergoing some change. Some new pockets of dairying are coming up in South Dakota, Kansas, Central Texas, California. These are the places where the dairy industry is getting a boost due to the local dynamics. The surplus, which is envisaged in 2030 for US, is about 7.5 million metric tons. Globally, there will be a deficit. I mean, there will be a huge gap of about 20.4 million metric tons in demand and supply in dairy and dairy products, milk and milk products. So we can see that there is enough opportunity for dairy producers and brands to get a share out of this increasing international trade. Those with enough capacities, their manufacturing standards, meeting the export regulations of various countries, they stand to benefit because there is enough opportunity coming up in the next 8 years when anybody can get a share out of it. The growth in demand is to be driven by various factors. The most basic and important one is the increase in population worldwide, increase in per capita demand, that is because of increase in disposable income, changing consumer tastes and preferences, increasing expectations out of in the dairy sector from the consumers, product price and price substitutes. These are the four major demand drivers for dairy. For developed countries like US, European Union, etc., the consumption is going to come from increase in population only, mainly. That's because they are already developed in terms of dairy consumption and they have high per capita consumption of dairy products. In case of US and EU, the per capita consumption will remain almost same. In the next 7-8 years, it's not going to change much because already they are consuming at a high level. For developing countries, although, the increase might come from both increasing population and also increasing disposable income. For example, India, Pakistan, China, Mexico, Brazil, etc. The demand increasing demand would come from both increase in population plus increase in per capita consumption. When we talk of demographics, we'll see that world population is going to increase by about 70 crores by 2030 from where we stand, and by another 7-8 years, the world population is going to grow by about 70 crores. Indian population is almost set to grow by another 12 crores, and 50% of the growth in the world population would be coming from Africa. Africa, as you know, there are several small countries, but they are growing at a fast pace. So the growth in population, world population, would be driven by Africa. In case of US, they are probably growing by 16 million and by 2030, out of which about 50% will be migrants from various parts of the world, and that is going to lead a shift towards the consumption pattern. As you would know that Southeast Asia, China, Japan, all these nations, the dietary patterns are different. So probably this is going to reflect in the overall consumption pattern in US. In case of China, as you know, the population is decreasing. So the population of China is going to decrease by about 9.3 million, and India would surpass them by that time. We are almost equal to them now, or we just cross them in terms of population. So that is another thing which is going to impact on the way the trade is going to happen, because China is one of the major importers in case of dairy. The top 20 countries in population growth, they account for about 2/3 of the total population growth. So there are many countries, the 1/3 of the countries actually, they are probably not growing at a pace which is impacting the population growth. So the top 20 countries, they are the ones which are driving the population growth across the world. And in case of dairy, there is expected that the demand would grow at a 2.5% CAGR across for the next 10 years. The dairy demand will increase in African countries because they are the ones who are growing at a very fast pace in terms of population growth. Across several countries, and also in China, India, US, or other developed nations, the population under the young population or the youth, that their percentage is decreasing, which is very alarming. Even India is in a better position as compared to many other developed nations, but population under 20 will come down. In China, India, US, Brazil, Mexico, etc. And the population of 50 plus people, that is going to increase. In China, the 20 to 50 age group is also coming down. So in China, the 20 to 50 age group is coming down, and the population of the above 50 group is increasing. In India, US, Africa, Mexico, Indonesia, these are popular states, very popular states, and there also the 20 to 50 age group will be increasing, and the below 20 age group is going to decrease. So globally, if you see, the 50 plus age group is increasing significantly, and they are going to impact dairy consumption. Africa significantly will have a larger number of young population because they are growing at a very fast pace in terms of population. Next. So this is a reflection of how the dairy demand and where from it is going to come. If you look at the blue portion and the orange portion, the blue portion is the impact of the population growth, and whereas the orange portion is the one which is coming from increase in per capita consumption. Even though we have a large population, but then our growth or the demand, the increase is going to mainly come from increase in per capita consumption because of several demand drivers, as we already mentioned. Increasing per capita consumption because of rising incomes, urbanization, consumer taste preferences changing. People are actually venturing out for several other products which we never used to think of earlier, like cheese, like yogurt, like fermented beverages, imported chocolates, cheese. So these are the ones which consumers are now seeking. With rising income levels and urbanization and awareness, they are ready to experiment. So the per capita consumption is going to be play a bigger impact than the rise in population. Even in a country like Pakistan, you can see it's going to happen. The trend is going to be the same. But in case of China, if you see, the demand growth is going to come from only the per capita consumption increase, because they are already deficit. That is one. The population is declining, but still their demand will increase because they have high purchasing. So the increase in case of China would be purely of the increasing per capita consumption. In case of USA, the growth in demand would mainly come from population because their per capita consumption is already at a high level. To summarize, in case of India, due to increase in population, there will be an increase in demand. Similarly, increase in per capita consumption, which will drive demand growth. In Pakistan, which is the second biggest driver for dairy demand. China, the population is going to decrease by about 9.3 million. However, the per capita consumption is going to increase because of rising incomes. Demand growth would be about 1.5% per annum. In case of US, there will be a 0.5% increase in population and only 0.25% gain in per capita consumption because they are already at a high level of per capita consumption. So India will remain the largest producer as well as largest consumer of dairy. The government policies in India will continue to support self-sufficiency and shift to formal markets. VADP, like fermented products and other products like cheese, etc., are going to grow at a double digit. In case of China, which is another big importer of dairy products, the domestic supply is going to grow. They'll be gradually, shifting towards self-sustainability, but they are still a long way away. They are about 80% self-sufficient in terms of dairy. They will continue to remain the largest producer of the largest dairy importer. They'll be, because of rise in per capita consumption, that the demand is going to increase. They will have better choices of dairy products. Also, because their population is going from 20 to 50 age group, 50 plus, the dietary patterns may change. So the consumption pattern is also going to change in case of China. Next. South America, these are all small countries. They have a potential to be a dominant international player because of their farming structure. But however, they are politically, economically very unstable. Those are the limiting factors for them. Countries like Argentina, etc., Brazil, Mexico. However, trade within the region would be increasing in case of South America. In Europe, they continue to remain the key market. The increase in production would be very nominal or modest, as we can say. Exportable surplus will be also modest. Production will move from less populated regions within EU due to supply constraint, because now European bigger cities are getting populated. So to have to increase their capacities, they will be there. There is a need to move into some other region within the European Union to give a boost to the dairy economy. In case of US is in a better position because their farming structure is such. They have almost they have captive farming, unlike India where we have a very small holding size. Farmers from with two animal also they are contributing, and that's a large number of farmers in India. Whereas in US, there is captive farming with large farm sizes, and also they are getting into both kind of integration in terms of horizontal, vertical, and in case there is a international trade deficit in dairying, they probably have a better chance. They stand up. They are in a good position to capture that topic, which is also very important, which was discussed in detail during the WDS. The importance of labeling, food labeling, in which decides consumer buying behavior. The food labels actually they protect the health and safety aspects of consumers by displaying very important information on the packets in the label. And what are those? And one is nutritional declaration. What are the nutrition inside the product? Sometimes it is given in terms of direct absolute value. Sometimes they are given as a part of 100 ml or 100 grams. Within that, how much nutrition is available? Allergens, ingredients, instruction for storage or preparation, and advisory warning statements. Now, if you see, some of these things are mandated by the law of the country, and some others are voluntary, declarations. Now, there is the very small portion or small space is available to provide all the information. Now, this is for the brand or the manufacturer to decide which are the things which should be there, in the voluntary one, which is not mandated by law. Whatever is mandated by law, that has to be given, like date of packing, what is the weight, what is the ingredient. But apart from that, also marketeers are using a lot of other contents within that small area available for labeling. That is where the debate is coming out. That what should be there in the label. Next. As you would know, this is based on a research which has been done. That on average, a consumer spends about 12 seconds to study the label, and that too has come down because of increasing categories, increasing brands, our lifestyle changes. So now that 12 seconds has come down to almost 5 to 7 seconds. So within that, the consumer has to make a decision looking at the label. And which are the important ones which they look at? They look at prices, because that is where they make a decision, conscious decision, whether this is affordable, whether it's too costly or it's very good. So in terms of pricing, so that price is one factor. Then the brand or the marketing. Brand also plays a very important role, because those who are aware, they look at a brand because of the trust factor, they have been using it, or they are aware of that brand, so they look at the brand. Then the promotional offers also they look at. If there's a good promotional offer, they tend to buy that particular product or a brand. And taste and cultural factor. These are the four prominent ones which they look at while in the label while making a decision. So about nutrition information in the labeling. So if you see, the demographics also play a very important role in nutritional information and labeling. every customer from different demographic segment, they look at labels differently. So and that too for every product. Every product has a different degree of importance in labeling. In case of, say, for fruit and vegetables, there is hardly any impact of labeling. They look at the physical appearance and the shine or the freshness. That aspect is very important here. Second is consumers do not pay any attention on nutritional value of indulgent products. Indulgent products like chocolates, ice creams, they do not really pay attention whether how much sugar is there, how much fat is there, because they are indulgent products. They have to have. Consumers tend to focus more on the level of a product which has multiple ingredients. So this is where it is very important to understand the kind of labeling one should choose, because when there is multiple labeling, then the multiple ingredients within a product, they get confused about there is a preservative, there is emulsifier, there is added color. All these additives are chemicals which might not be good for body. So that is where the thing becomes very complex. And that is how the consumers get confused whether to buy this product or not. Next. This is how it is being done by various brands across the globe. Made with real honey, or made with real fruit, or whole grain product, 100% vitamin C or 25% vitamin A and E. Somebody is saying milk from cows not treated with RBST. So these are all things which confuses the consumer. So busy and complicated labels, ambiguity, multiple messages are there. So consumers are actually forced to, they know that, fruits are good. So brands writing made from real fruits is actually forcing the consumer to pick up that product. And trading multiple information. Within a very short span of time, as we discussed, from 12 seconds, the decision-making time has come down to 5 to 7 seconds. To process all this information, multiple messages, it becomes very difficult for the consumers. Next. So what do the consumers like? They are there to go and make a purchase. So what they want some simple things in the labels. They have limited time, so they have to make a choice within that limited time, because they find it very difficult to interpret various nutrients and ingredients in the products. However, nutrition information can make the consumer feel coerced or pushed to make decisions. Like we say, sugar-free. So now somebody who is diabetic, or probably doctor's advice, medical practitioners have advised not to have any sugar intake, they are forced to buy. Similarly, it has been from the research findings, from the same research, it has come down that in the front of panel nutritional label have limited impact on purchase behaviors. That probably is because so much of information is traded, the consumer at one point of time give up actually. Next. And they go by the other parameters like brand, etc. If they trust a brand, probably they will take it up. So the take-home message is that labeling must align and evolve with evidence. So if you are claiming something in the label, there has to be some evidence which the consumers believe. Brands needs to be truthful, accurate, impartial, and not misleading in their labeling. Third important factor is recognize the dietary contribution of nutrient-dense foods. Consider the health benefits and from consuming whole foods, not just nutrients in the isolation. So too much focus on nutrients might actually take away the important factor that this is a wholesome food, and in a more natural form. By just writing that nutritionally the nutrients are higher in this kind of a product might be actually wrong, because the product which is not having those added nutrients is actually natural and less processed food. Similarly, providing some meaningful information to the consumer, recognize the growth in off-label information like QR code, websites, point of sales, and also to educate the consumers what to look at. If there are some alarm signals, what are the things they should avoid and what should they look for in a label. So that is another responsibility of brands, to educate the consumers how to study a label and making their decision. The third part of our presentation today is, dynamic consumer requirements and new product development. As you would know that during COVID, globally, the consumption pattern has taken a big change, has seen a big change. When I was talking to a grocer there in Indian market, the grocer said that, I have never sold so much of baking soda in my life, what I sold during the COVID period. So a lot of household consumers, housewives started making things at home, which otherwise they would always consume outside home, like cakes, pastries, pizzas. Nowadays in as per urban lifestyle, people go out once or twice a week. So paneer consumption out of home, now it has changed because when they think that, it is better to make at home. It's not safe to consume outside. It's safe to buy packed products, branded products, and not, unbranded products. So the whole lot of changes has happened. Even then, the housewives have invested time in, learning new dishes, some Western dishes or continental dishes. So the consumption pattern has changed. Like earlier, probably the fresh cream, which is sold in Tetra Pak in Indian market, a huge portion of that was going to institutional segment. And the 200 ml pack or the consumer pack was very small. During COVID, the consumer pack had a huge boost. That's because the household consumers started picking up this product to make new dishes at home. So now the brands and the manufacturers need to look at those changes, what's happening in the consumer's mind and in the households. We in India, probably when we are talking of Indian context, when we consider milk, we attach a lot of importance to fat. Jada malai wala doodh pasand hai, it is priced also accordingly. But if you look at the kind of curiosity which is happening around protein, so protein is very important in today's context, and people are realizing that. Even the medical practitioners are also talking about protein intake. Protein is basically a bodybuilding. It's something which helps in bodybuilding since a baby is born. So if you see, this is just a demonstration in the Google India search, how the number of searches made in the internet, which has over the years, how it has increased for protein. Another one is basically searches on protein deficiency. When you go to a doctor about anything, they talk about, your protein, the intake has to be more. That is what is going to help you to keep you healthy. So searches on protein deficiency is also on the rise, if you see worldwide. And also, if you those who we are in India, we know that doodh se calcium milta hai. Punjabis drink a lot of milk, so their bones are very broad and they have good bone structure. So discussion is to happen on that calcium ground. But now, if you see that in the internet, the search is on mostly on protein, and the calcium thing has just been on the same trajectory. Whereas for protein, it has increased significantly. So everybody is talking about protein. So those brands which are consumer friendly, or they're looking at the trends, they immediately make those decisions to how to introduce such products which consumers are looking for. High protein drinks, beverages. So these are the kind of products which is coming up. Protein lassi, high protein buttermilk, So these are the products which consumers are also looking at. There's a segment, and this is going to increase in the years to come. COVID, as we all know, needless to mention, the safety aspect was given huge importance, and a lot of brands had come out with immunity building products to meet the consumer demand during the COVID times. Next. So we see, brands like Mother Dairy, Amul, they had come up with Haldi Milk. I am sure many other brands, milk unions, they have introduced. Most popular one is the Haldi Milk, which builds immunity, and they did well with those products. continuously the brands which invest, brands like Mother Dairy, Amul, and I'm sure many others are investing a lot of money and effort on research and development to develop products which meet these kind of immunity boosters, to come up with new products in their product portfolio. Another important topic is the sugar intake. And as we know, in India, a land of celebrations, and no celebration or festival is complete without sweets. So we take a lot of sweets, be it gulab jamun, rasgulla, or jalebi, everything. We take a lot of products which has sugar. But as we all know, with awareness levels increasing, the doctors are also prescribing. Even the government is also very they are thinking that we see a lot of obesity among kids, overweight kids, because these sweets are indulgent, like chocolates and ice creams. So this is one thing which has come up. So brands are actually trying to reduce the sugar content in their products, and which is actually helping the consumers to lead a healthy lifestyle. So we can see brands like Amul, they have introduced several variants of sugar-free products, like chocolates or gulab jamun, or in case of Mother Dairy, diet sugar-free ice creams. So these are all indulgent products. So it's very difficult to control. So these are the products which actually is helping the consumers to stay healthy and fit by reducing the sugar content. We talked about labeling. So here again, moving towards a clean label. Like those who are in the dairy industry, in our milk pack, what do we write? We write total solid fat SNF. That's all, and maybe we give a nutritional, content listing. No addition of preservatives or stabilizer or color or emulsifiers. That makes it a very clean label. So consumers want that, and now clean label certification is also coming in fashion. So brands actually claim that they are superior on the basis of clean labeling. So natural, unprocessed, real ingredients free from additives, sustainable and transparent brands get a lot of leverage when a consumer has to decide which brand to pick up. A brand which is very free from additives or chemicals, because these are all chemicals. When you say of food color or preservatives or emulsifiers, these are all chemicals which are not good for our health. So brands which actually give us a very clean label would be preferred by the consumers in the long run. Next. So Amul has introduced a range of cheese which claims they are natural, and they are getting good response, not only in the metros but also in some of the tier 2 free towns. There is a growing demand for organic. I would not. I mean, many would say that it has become fashionable to talk about organic or this thing. But yes, as you all know, organic farming has far-reaching impact on environment, and in many places this is being promoted heavily by even the government, and at the global level also it is being talked about. In India too, a lot of household, they buy at least some products which are organic in nature, and this is set to grow by about 75,000 crore by 2025. That is the industry estimate. So organic products, the need for organic product is rising day by day, and brands are also contemplating on how to catch this segment. So Amul has done some portfolio diversification and introduced certain organic atta, chana dal, etc. In dairy, we are yet to see major implementation, but across other food categories, definitely there is a big movement. Love for exotic, yes. If you see, especially with fruits and vegetables, a lot of exotic, fruits like dragon fruit, the kiwi, etc. These are not only available in metro cities, but also tier 2, tier 3 cities, and some of the semi-urban centers as well. that is because, that there's a segment which is moving towards that, because people want to experience newer things, exotic things. So that is another trend which in consumer behavior, which is being visible. Next. So we have, Amul chocolates, in different sourced, the cocoa sourced from different parts of the world, Peru, Venezuela, and etc. So these are catching up in among the consumers, and brands are actually investing in introducing those kind of products, which caters to those consumers who are looking for exotic products. Species-based dairy range is another one which has been there, but now there has been some niche markets as well. Doctors are also recommending that for immunity, it is better to have camel milk or goat milk. So we have, A2 milk also has come in the market by several brands, including Amul. And we already, for a long time, we have, cow ghee, buffalo ghee separately marketed. So species-based dairy range is another one which manufacturers or brands are looking at. This probiotic thing is also catching up. It was there, but since post-COVID, this has caught up tremendously. Probiotic, meaning pro-life products, which actually builds up your therapeutic, health, which has therapeutic value. This is catching up, and brands are, not falling back. Most of the brands in India, they have some probiotic range to cater to this segment of the population, which is looking for, natural probiotic products. Another trend which has been observed in the consumer buying behavior is, unexpected combinations, like, chocolate ice creams, pizza-based waffles, or, biscuits and ice creams. This is something which is, come up, like Cadbury, which is mainly known for chocolates, had come up with Oreo and had a great success. Similarly, other brands are also experimenting. A lot of brands are actually doing a lot of research and development activities surrounding this concept, that which will actually surprise the consumers and have a new set of consumers in the portfolio. And finally, we see with our kind of lifestyle changes that is happening around, and also for the sake of convenience, the rise, there's a tremendous growth in this direct-to-consumer approach. And we see several good brands developing during the last few years. This year's Board, Sugar, Mama's, Bellora. These are all, direct-to-home, direct-to-consumers, chain, which are doing very well across the globe. And this trend is going to continue in the near future. Thank you.
थैंक यू सो मच सर. मैं सभी प्रतिभागियों का भी धन्यवाद करना चाहूंगा कि आप लोगों ने इतने समय तक इस विषय में आप लोग हमसे जुड़े रहे और सर के प्रेजेंटेशन को सुना और अपने सभी सवालों का जवाब सर से पाया. I once again thank Sopan Sinha sir to have kindly joined this session and discussed in detail about the learnings. And आप सभी का भी धन्यवाद करता हूं और आपसे अगली बार मिलने की आशा करते हुए धन्यवाद करता हूं. Thank you.
Thank you very much.